Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are doing the final mock draft for the New York Jets in the 2024 offseason. There's a full 7-round mock draft, so we will go over all of the Jets selections here momentarily. But before we do that, if you're a big fan of the NBA and NHL playoffs and you like to put a couple bucks down on the games that you're watching, be sure to click the link down below. BetUS is having an amazing promotion going on right now for all first-time players at their site of 125% match for your first 3 deposits. It's phenomenal. I haven't heard anything like that before. It's an amazing deal. So take full advantage of this promotion by clicking the link down below and checking out their site. While you're at it, be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the channel to get notified whenever the Tracy Take creates more content. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the NFL draft, which is just about 2 weeks away. We're about 150 away as of the recording of this video. So any help is greatly appreciated. Ryan, let's pull up the Jets slides here and some of their go over their first pick. Jets have invested a lot in the offensive line over the offseason, getting John Simpson from Baltimore, Morgan Moses from Baltimore, Tyron Smith from Dallas. And I think with those moves, it does not stop them from addressing the offensive line at all throughout this draft. But I do think it opens them a lot more to get an amazing player here at number 10, get them another skill position player. They've got Garrett Wilson, who is one of the better receivers in the league, in my opinion, but he's just had horrible offense to be on during his career. They did get Mike Williams as well on a 1-year deal. I think that's a very low risk, high reward type of deal, bringing him in. I think you go and get Brock Bowers here. They don't really have an elite tight end, or honestly an effective tight end, to put it that way. So now you have 3 good weapons for Aaron Rodgers to throw to, and you still have Breece Hall in the backfield as well. I really like the way that this offensive room is shaping up. And honestly, too, with John Simpson, Morgan Moses coming over, and you have Tyron Smith as well. All those guys can stay healthy. This offensive line is now immensely improved, from what it was last year. So best offensive line Rodgers is going to have during his time during the Jets. So I think going with a guy like here with Brock Bowers, super high prospect. I feel like we've known him since he was a kid. And also we live in Georgia as well, so we're constantly going to be seeing his name. I think there is some potential prospect fatigue with him, but he's still one of the best talents. I mean, I think he's more talented than Kyle Pitts is.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Simply because I think he's a better blocker than Kyle Pitts. Receiving threat-wise, I think they're probably on the same tier. Maybe Kyle Pitts is like slightly better, but
Kyle Pitts is Johnny Wilson, so to say. He just happens to be a tight end.
Yeah.
But he's a better receiver than that.
Yeah. And that for me, I think you look at Brock Bowers and what he brings to the table. He helps the Jets win right now. That, like, you could go with a left tackle here. You could go maybe with another wide receiver who would play there, but like the Jets need a starting tight end now, and Brock Bowers would instantly be at the top of the depth chart. Him, Garrett Wilson, you have Mike Williams that you brought in for some jump ball scenarios and to win down the field. All in all, like that to me, I think was probably the best way to improve this offense with the 10th overall pick right here. So
not even just the offense, I think just the team as a whole. If you go look at their moves, they've even brought in some good guys defensively, like Javon Kinlaw from San Francisco. He replaces Quinn Jefferson, who they lost as well. They've even got Isaiah Oliver to replace Bryce Hall. So defensively, I think they've made those replacements there. I think they've addressed their biggest need, which was offensive line, and they can still go get some younger guys to slowly develop. But now you go and add another pass catcher for Aaron Rodgers. And I agree with you. Like, I think this is kind of what this team needs to just keep improving. And God forbid something happens then to Rodgers again, who I don't even think teams will take Zach Wilson if the Jets give them a draft pick. Like, nobody wants Zach Wilson at all. And so God forbid Zach Wilson has to come back in, even though they did get Tyrod Taylor as well. So I don't think they have to worry about that. But still, it's just more options for whoever is going to be playing the quarterback position, even for over the next couple of years.
No, for sure. And he's one of the top just overall receiving threats in this draft. So I think that's really good value here at 10. He just falls. This is a really loaded class. And I think you look Chicago, Atlanta, they don't need a tight end. And then also with 4 quarterbacks at the top of the draft and Joe Alt, like that's already 8, I think, of the first 10 or first 9 picks that could be picking before them. So it'll just be interesting to kind of see where everybody goes there. Let's move on now to their next pick. They don't have a second rounder. They only have a third rounder. But Christian Mahogany here from Boston College, a really solid interior offensive lineman. maybe is a little bit of a depth pick because you have Elijah Vera Tucker. They signed John Simpson, and then they got Joe Tittman last year. However, with the amount of injuries that they've had in the interior of that offensive line, I think they're going to be building for the future going forward here, because outside of maybe a few other holes, like they did a pretty good job of setting themselves up to be able to draft best player available in the 2024 draft. But getting Mahogany here, I think, is really, really solid value, even though they did add John Simpson from Baltimore already.
Well, and another thing too, Elijah Vera Tucker has dealt with injury concerns just during his time with New York so far. Unfortunately, because he is a good offensive lineman, in my opinion, he just can't stay healthy. So I think you go get him here as insurance, but also then too, whenever you move on from John Simpson, he's a developmental piece. He has a lot of good traits about him, and at minimum, as you said, it's just good depth overall. And so injuries happen all throughout the season. It's win a Super Bowl, it's a war of attrition, really. And so you want to have as many good players on your team as possible, and Christian Mahogany is one of those players.
Yeah, for sure. But let's get into their day 3 picks here. So McKinley Jackson, defensive tackle, adding some depth there. They did bring in Javon Kinlaw and Lecky Fotu. Jamari Thrash adding some depth to that wide receiver room. Going to be a little bit more of the smaller, quick twitch guy. Joe Milton going and getting a guy that you could potentially develop behind Aaron Rodgers, because he has all the athletic talent and traits that you would want in a quarterback. Just, I think he needs a team that can let him sit and learn and just develop his football IQ, so to say. And then,
and that's what to that point as well is I think, he's got a cannon of an arm. It definitely needs to get a little more consistent and accurate. I think too, one of the things people don't really talk too much about with Rodgers is just his ability to just absolutely just read defenses and that mental part of the game as well. I think for any young quarterback to come in, and if Rodgers there for only 1 more year or 2 more years, but just to sit behind him and learn from him is going to be instrumental to his overall success in the NFL.
Yeah. So I really like his physical traits. I think he needs to learn how to use his pitching wedge and some other clubs that are in his bag. So, but round it up, DeAndre Prince and Josiah Ezram, 2 just kind of developmental prospects that could come in and contribute.
So, in general, though, I think the Jets have already kind of succeeded in their offseason so far. They've got a veteran pass catcher. They've got veteran offensive linemen. And now I think with this draft, you're just going in and getting Brock Bowers. I think this team now is then projected to be like a playoff contending team. Even too with Rodgers coming back last year, it's one of the things we were talking about with just kind of how injured or just how kind of poorly that offensive line was. Like in Zach Wilson, obviously there's not much really be said to defend him now anymore, but to be fair, though, he never had a shot behind that offensive line, just in general. Rodgers might have been able to help set better blocking schemes, so to say, but I really don't know how many more games Rodgers would have been able to help push the Jets over the finish line against some of these teams. I mean, maybe they get closer to 500, but over 500. But I think with the offseason moves that they made right now, they now have veteran offensive linemen. I think they go and get younger guys to kind of also start to still go and build around in the future once Rodgers moves on and some of these other veteran offensive linemen move on as well. So there's still good cornerstone pieces that they can go and build around, like with Brock Bowers and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. No, I really like what the Jets have going for them, which makes me a little bit sad as a Patriots fan. But I think this draft definitely kind of supports what they've done so far. But let's go ahead and wrap this one up. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. And while you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on what you thought of this New York Jets 7-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you do differently? And on that, we'll see you guys next time.